Welcome to Punky's Pro Wrestling. I am doing this after my bath so that I don't have to do it tomorrow, because I have some other stuff to do tomorrow, including the big updates video on Kid Missing. There is more in the ongoing saga of Hulk Hogan's death. He has been autopsied and he will be cremated per his wishes. He was found to have died of a myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack. That's the doctor's words for a heart attack. I guess they tried for 30 minutes on the scene and then transported him to a hospital where he was pronounced. Now, someone said that they had set up hospice in his home because there was nothing more they could do for him. If they had, and he had died, they would have called hospice. They would have come and pronounced, and that would have been it. They wouldn't have called the ambulance. They would have called the hospice. So I don't believe that that's the case necessarily. I do think he was much sicker than he let on, because he had chronic lymphocytic leukemia, CLL. It's chronic because it's slow growing. It's there. And it generally happens in his age group. Okay. It says that most adults live a long time. You would go through chemo, possibly stem cell, transplant, and all those things. It's funny, he never mentioned it. He never talked about it. I think it was recent, myself. I think he was still in treatment. And I think it was probably on his death certificate as a contributing cause. I haven't seen the actual death certificate, and I'm sure it'll be out there. I mean, Roddy Piper's was out there. So it'd be interesting if they ever put a toxicology report out there, because they did for Roddy Piper. And guess what? Nothing. Zip, zero, nothing. Clean and sober. Anyway, so, and I'll be very surprised if they don't put the certificate out there. If somebody doesn't get a hold of it. I mean, Us Weekly's on the case, so they'll probably get a hold of it. Actually, I think they said they had paperwork from the coroner's office. So when he was in the hospital before he came home, he was put on a ventilator because of complications from the surgery, which he ended up in renal failure. And apparently Hulk had COPD pretty dang badly. That is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. It was probably another contributing factor on his certificate. So sounds like he died of similar to what my mother died from, which was renal failure due to prolonged ventilation, prolonged ventilator use, and with the comorbidities of the heart condition, the AFib, the leukemia, and then the COPD, and then the renal failure. So and they said he had severe COPD, which is strange because he hit it well. You had never heard him wheeze or anything. Of course, he hadn't done an interview. The last interview he did was on Raw, and then and he did the speech at the Republican convention for Trump. Well, he did that before being on Raw, and that's why the fans were booing him like crazy, because he was a Trump supporter. So, and a lot of people are saying, where are his millions going? His $40 million fortune. His kids. Some of it's probably going to go to Linda. I don't know if his second wife will get anything, although they were married over 10 years. So she could technically collect, when she's old enough, technically collect Social Security off of him. Because they were married over 10 years, and that's all that's required. And so can Linda, obviously. Third wife can't. They've only been married for 2 years. But she'll get some of it. Linda will get some of it. I doubt the middle wife will. The kids will. That's just my opinion, knowing what I know. I've got to stop picking at this foot. I've got this openness on my foot, like where the skin is just peeling away, and it's red and open. So I ordered new shoes. It's almost like a bunion on my little toe. Whoever heard of a bunion on your little toe? But anyway, that's kind of what it's like. So, anyway, thank you so much. I wanted to get this out there. I think that if it hadn't been just diagnosed when he was in the hospital, if he had known about it for a while, he probably should have come forward and just said, hey, look, I can get through this. I mean, I can see if this were 1985, not wanting to scare the little Hulkamaniacs. This is not 1985, honey. This is 2025. This is 40 years later. You're not going to scare any little Hulkamaniacs that are now 50 years old. Like I said, I was a fan up until right around WrestleMania 2. Just before it, actually, and during it sealed it for me. I don't think that oh my goodness. I don't think, like I said, he should have said something. And I think he was, based on his conversations with Bischoff, he didn't want people to see him the way he was, because he was weak, he was skinny, he was not the Hulkster. And he didn't want people to see him like that. And so and maybe he didn't want people to see him as weak, and that's why he didn't say, I have cancer. Whereas Roddy Piper was very open about his battle with lymphoma, talked about his radiation treatment. He took pictures of his radiation treatment, but they're different people, and so and I do understand that also. But I just wanted to give you this update, let you know what's going on. All of the medical things that were going on, they made this perfect storm of not good. And why a wrestling icon is dead. And he is an icon, whether I like it or not. And I was a fan once, when I was a little kid. I'm not going to say I wasn't. I was a little Hulkamaniac. But then I started seeing things, like I said, that interview on that show at the gym, and how rude he was, and how he treated that little girl at WrestleMania too. So do not forget that this weekend is SummerSlam. And every promotion has had a remembrance of Hogan. It's been all over the news. It happened right around the same time as Ozzy Osbourne. So the news has been going absolutely crazy. And some idiot said Fran Drescher was dead. She's not. My prayers are certainly with Sharon and the kids, because they say she's hurting real bad, which makes sense. They were married for 40 years. It's going to be absolutely horrible. So and certainly prayers for Hulk's family. And don't believe anything you see that claims it's a statement from Brooke, because she has not made a statement. It's all AI generated, and her husband's not a happy man. Just to lay that out there. And I did see a clip of Linda. This clip is from before Hogan died, talking about her daughter not talking to either of them. And she's got these big black marks on her face, like, I don't know if she had skin cancer or what the heck happened, but she just looked awful. She was crying. So if anybody tries to play that off as having anything to do with Hogan's death, they're wrong. That actually was from way before, when she was talking about the family falling apart and about her daughter not talking to her. Or Hulk. Yet his son-in-law posted on Instagram about his death, and put a picture of himself, his wife, and his father-in-law. So apparently they were in some contact with Hulk. So I don't know. So prayers for his family. Bye, guys. God bless you. Thank you for us making our goal of 30 subscribers. Now we have a goal of 50. Bye, guys.